Here's a little introduction to entering basic formulas and text and numbers in Microsoft Excel. It's very similar for any spreadsheet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create somewhat from scratch, although not completely from scratch, this kind of order form, just as an example of something that uses basic formulas and text entry and things like that. So this is an order form for a pretend bookstore, and it's got 10 spaces, 10 items, and you can enter the names in of the books you want to get, the quantity, how many of each book, the price per copy for each book, the resulting full cost, which should be this times this, the price times the quantity. Then to make it a little more interesting, I put in a little discount, an overall discount on everything. Take 20% off the $41 and you get $32.80, etc. And then for each of those discounted costs, add them up to get a subtotal. Put in tax, which is determined by the tax rate up here, and then grand total it. Okay, so I just want to use this to show you some of the key features of a spreadsheet, and in particular, how Excel does it. Okay, so here's a version where I've taken out all the formula stuff, but left in most of the formatting, because the formatting is somewhat of a minor detail, and it's not that hard to figure out a lot of the formatting stuff. So but the most basic thing, for example, is how do you enter text or numbers? You just click into a cell, and then once you've clicked in a cell, you can just type. Okay. Notice that it also replicates up here what's called the formula bar, and often you'll just be typing directly into the cell, but sometimes, especially if you need to go in and edit an existing formula, let's go enter, and I'll go back up to that. If you want to edit an existing formula, you want to often go back to the formula bar because it's better set up for editing. If you're in the formula bar, you can just enter, or you can do check to enter the new text you've done. If you've totally messed it up, and you're like, no, I don't want to change it, I just want to go back to what it was, you do the all important cancel button, which just goes back to whatever it was before you started editing it. That's very useful. Okay, so I've already here entered in various text in the same way, done some formatting, but it's not a big deal. And now I want to show you how to enter in all the numerical stuff in the formulas. Okay, so for example, one thing I want to show you, we could just do 1, enter. Notice it goes down by default when you enter, 2, enter. If you press tab, it goes over, if you want to use the keyboard for that. 3, enter. Then that wouldn't be too bad to enter in 1 through 10 by hand, but what if it was like 1 to 100 or 1 to 1,000? So I want to show you something that's better. So I'm going to start with the 1. It is important to have a seed value started. And then I'm going to click and drag, or what I was just doing is shift and down arrow. So click and drag, or on the keyboard I'm doing shift down arrow, which is really helpful. And then I'm going to fill, and there's some options. I'll show you fill down very soon, but fill series is very useful. It's going to ask us various questions. The answer to these questions here is all yes. I want to fill a series in columns, yes. I want linear growth, so just stepping up by the same amount each time, adding the same amount, and stepping by 1. And so that's the default. If you just want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc., you can just basically press enter because it's the default. So that's a nice way to just get those, especially if it's a lot of numbers. Okay. So I'll put in, fake name 1, Napoleon Dynamite, whatever, okay? So suppose I want 3 of fake name 1, and that's at $12. I have put that in with a default so that it shows up as a dollar sign. That's easy. I'll just tell you right now, if you just take, if you're in a cell and you hit the dollar button, then it'll change to accounting format. So how do I get the cost for that automatically? I want to have a formula that automatically calculates this. This is the value of a spreadsheet. It's not just a place to put numbers, it's a place to calculate numbers. So the most important character in any spreadsheet always is equals. So I'm going to press equals, went into the formula bar. I could have done it right here as well. But I went into the formula bar and I pressed equals, and that says start a formula. And then it's pretty easy. You just do click on one thing, and then I'm going to do times. That's just shift 8, of course, and then click on another thing, and it says equals C4 times D4. So this is like variables in algebra. It says like X times Y, but there's a variable for every cell on the sheet. And so this just says the formula here is the result of multiplying this, whatever in this is in this cell times whatever is in this cell. Enter, and we got it. Okay. Now, I want to get the discounted cost as well. Okay, so that's going to be another formula equals the full cost times, I'm going to do parentheses, I'm going to take 1 minus, and then I'm going to click on the discount rate. Now there's nothing there yet, but that's okay. It won't get too confused. It's going to treat it as a 0 actually, and then we can change it in a minute. Okay, and then we're going to have to do one very crucial change in a sec as well. Okay, so that's going to be, let me just show you how it works. Just right now it's not discounting at all. Let's put 20% in. So I could put in 20%. It's smart enough to understand that as 0.2 written as 20%. Okay. And now it has actually calculated the discount correctly. So what it did was it took 1 minus 20%, or in other words, 100 minus 20%, or 80%, and multiplied it by E4. Okay, so now do I have to do that for every single cell here and every single cell here? I should be able to copy and paste or something like that, right? So let me break this up. That's the first thing. So the first big thing we have is the equals, and then how to copy and paste and fill large blocks with formulas in the right way is going to be the other really, really crucial thing, but I'll save that for part 2.